One of the biggest pushes I got was at 8 years old. As a musician, I wanted to get an electric guitar, and I asked my dad, and his response to an 8-year-old was, "Great, get a fucking job."
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. 20-Minute Leaders is a proud supporter of Make-A-Wish Israel and Tech to Peace, and is in proud collaboration with Hawke Ventures, Ventures, Riverside FM, Fusion VC, Birthright Excel, J Impact, Leap, Google for Startups, and Hippo, and in media partnership with CTech. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. I am with Erik Huberman, the CEO and founder who launched Hawke Media in 2014. Now valued at over $100 million, Hawke Media is the fastest growing marketing consultancy agency in the United States. Prior to its launch, Erik successfully founded, grew, and sold 2 e-commerce companies by the age of 26. He has since continued to strategically expand his business portfolio, inclusive of a handful of company acquisitions, Hawke Ventures, which raised $25 million in its second fund, and most recently HawkeZ, an agency offering brands the tools needed to tap into Generation Z. As a serial entrepreneur and marketing expert, Erik has been recognized by his industry peers through honors and awards, including Forbes Magazine's 30 Under 30, CSQ's 40 Under 40, and Inc. Magazine's Top 25 Marketing Influencers.
I'm really excited to have you here and spend these 20 minutes getting to know you, your story, your entrepreneurial story, Hawke Media, now also with the venture arm. I'm excited to unfold a little bit about the foundation for it, what it represents today, how you're continuing to grow it and position it as a sustainable business and something that you are personally, obviously, very proud of and is part of your life. So Erik, tell me first a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background and, you as an entrepreneur, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, like me as an entrepreneur, my grandfather was an entrepreneur, my dad was an entrepreneur. So I grew up just thinking that's what you did, that you could go get a job to learn something, and people could work for other people, but that it was always an option. And I just assumed that because that's what I came from, that's what I do is run a business. And I grew up wanting to be a musician, but quickly learned that understanding business was a good thing for musicians. It's a longer story, but it was a cool lesson. And so I just always had an interest in from 6 years old, I was trying to make money. My dad did a good job of he basically taught me the idea of saving up to get the next dollar bill, meaning I'm going to save all my money so I can afford a $5 bill. Then I'm going to save more so I can afford a $10 bill, then a 20, then a 50, then 100. And it was this goal for me that it was just intrinsic value of making money. And something really stuck with me that at a young age, that then I was always looking for ways to make money and build things. And I think one of the biggest pushes I got was at 8 years old. As a musician, I wanted to get an electric guitar, and I asked my dad, and his response to an 8-year-old was, "Great, get a fucking job." I was like, okay,
that's an interesting response to an 8-year-old.
Yeah, it is. But the funny thing is, I didn't take it like every adult would hear it, which is are you nuts? What did you just say that to an 8-year-old? As an 8-year-old, I was like, all right, I'll go get a job. I didn't know any different. My dad told me to get a job. I'm going to go figure it out. So I started selling lemonade. I sold flowers. And then I fell into buying and selling Beanie Babies when I was at the peak, basically. Or actually before the peak. So I got into it. And as an 8-year-old, I ended up making a few $1,000s buying and selling Beanie Babies, and sold them on, at trade shows and blah, blah, blah. And figured that business out of what I thought people would like and how I could hype up the collectibles, and made that money. So I bought my guitar, I bought a BMX bike, and I saved some money for a car later on. I had a few thousand sitting in my bank account. And this was how it started, is that was making money in order to afford something, but it also made me realize that I kind of like the wheeling and dealing, and it got me over any kind of inhibitions about doing deals. And so from that point on, there was always something I was trying to do, some business I was trying to start. And I always just had a fascination with it without really consciously saying, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Up until I was really 17, I didn't think of myself as pursuing owning a business. I had tried to start little things, but it was always I tried to start an online music company to buy and sell music equipment. This is 98, I think. 1998.
Wow.
because I just thought that it'd be fun to work in that field. And also I would get good retail deals with all the music equipment companies that then I could buy my stuff cheaper. So that's how I was thinking about this. But then going through high school, I realized I wasn't going to be a musician when I got older. I wasn't that good. And so I pivoted to wanting to be in the music business. And then around 17 was when I went, I don't really need to go to music business. I can just be in business and enjoy playing music. And that's when I started looking at starting other businesses. I started learning from my dad was in real estate and in the waste business. I'd actually went and worked with one of his senior executives on that handled all the management of the properties to learn about how they managed money, how they looked at properties, how they looked at returns, and that kind of thing. And so that helped. And then I went to college and did a whole bunch of different things, and then came out in 2008, went into real estate because I'd grown an affinity for it. And I started a week before Lehman Brothers collapsed. Decided that wasn't probably going to be my future. I made $350 my first year out of college. And so that's when I started building online companies and went off that way and built 3, sold 2. And that brings us to about 9 years ago when I started building Hawke Media.
The world of media, how did that come about for you?
Yeah, I mean, it started with me making fun of marketing majors in in college. Being like, what do you do? Like drop pictures? Like never took it seriously. But then I built my own online companies and realized that like operationally, they were always pretty easy to run. I ran a music company, then a t-shirt subscription site, then a women's activewear brand. And like making t-shirts or making women's activewear wasn't that difficult. There was a very clear solution to it. But the opportunity cost in marketing of doing it right or wrong is insane. If you do a really good job, the world's your oyster. If you miss, and it's a completely sliding scale that never ends. So owning these businesses, I paid a lot of attention to marketing. And so when I sold the last one and had success in it, I started helping other people figure this stuff out because I realized how hard it was. And through doing that, through helping them, I realized, oh, wow, this whole ecosystem's broken. Most agencies suck. The few that are good are really hard to work with. It's impossible to find good talent in-house. Like there's got to be a better way. So I built a small little SWAT team for my companies that I was advising for, each with their own expertise, like a Facebook marketer, an email marketer, web designer, and just said, hey, a la carte, month to month, we're going to be the best at what we do, but really easy to work with. And that's literally been the, sort of mission since is we articulate it as accessibility to great marketing. Again, let's be the best at what we do, but really easy to work with, nimble, flexible, innovative, et cetera. So that's how we built. And so fast forward, it's been 8.5 years. We're 200 and something full-time people, run marketing for actively 600 brands right now, manage about $1 billion in advertising spend. We have a $50 million venture fund. We're on our second fund. We have our financing arm that's doing tens of millions of dollars of working capital loans for our clients. And we recently, 6 weeks ago, launched our AI tool that within 6 weeks, we have 2,000 paid users, and it's just off to the races. So built a whole ecosystem around this that now it's been, really fun, really powerful, and it's all bootstrapped. We haven't raised any money.
That's just unbelievable. Okay, so I have to go back as an entrepreneur and figure out this. Obviously, it's not just that you're starting, multiple companies and then a media company, but it sounds like within this media company, you're also continuing to start newer companies within this company and continue to grow into different regions. Tell me a little bit about this mindset. It's not trivial. What's happening here?
I saw a chart a long time ago that always stuck with me, which is, revenue curves. I think it might be backwards here, but they kind of go up steep and then they flatten out. So lines of business, individual businesses, this is how the revenue usually looks. You can't grow. This whole hockey stick thing happens maybe in the first couple of years, but then it kind of goes like this and then, levels out. And you can't on an individual business line see this all forever. And so someone, I forgot where I learned that, but someone taught me that. And what the idea of wanting if you want an overall organization to continue to grow exponentially, you have to stack those. So as they trail off, you add a new line of business and that shoots up and then trails off and that shoots up and then trails off. And so you keep stacking innovation. Give Apple started with, desktop computers, but iPhone has been that innovation for now. And the next thing, I don't know, cars, whatever it is, they're going to launch, advertising, et cetera. You have to, as a business, keep adding revenue streams that have a chance for hyper growth, because your core business, the chances of it continuing hyper growth forever is slim to none. It doesn't happen, and so same reason big businesses make acquisitions of smaller businesses is if you take Coca-Cola, like the product is not going to have hyper growth. They've distributed it all around the world. It's done. So for them to grow, they grab smaller businesses, get them into their distribution, and boom, you now have twice as much product on that shelf, twice as much revenue. So same thing with us. It goes with just individual services. So like right now, just being transparent, we're talking about adding connected TV to our services. We sunsetted our production team, and we're going to grow a new one and rebuild our production capabilities. We are looking at several, and so in even just the service offerings, well, there are other things that our clients want that we could be offering that we can do well. So it doesn't hurt us, but it just helps, and we can be a more focused. And that's how we built out most of our services. You know, like we didn't have affiliate marketing. We started with a partner. We started offering affiliate marketing with this partner, and all of a sudden we became most of their business, and it was working really well. And we bought that agency, and now we have a huge affiliate team. So it's things like that we're always looking. On top of that, it's just by nature fun to look at, okay, what else could I be doing with this platform? So what the venture fund really came first in that stack, it was like, oh, we have all these companies we have full data on. We know how they're working. We get access to every deal we could ever want. Maybe I can start angel investing. And my first angel investment became a multi-billion-dollar company in a few years. And I was one of their first investors. I was like, shit. Like, I mean, I knew they were going to be successful. It ended up being a complete outlier, but it also encouraged me to keep going. After 7 deals, we had an average 11x return. And I was like, that's absurdly powerful. We should do more of this, but I can't afford to just do it myself. We raised the fund. That's one. Same thing happened with working capital. We had tons of clients that we'd grow really fast. And the problem with hyper growth is you end up a lot of times cash constrained because you can't keep up. Well, if we're doubling, let's say we're making you 10 times your money on your advertising, but you don't have enough cash to keep going. What if I gave you a 7% loan? Well, I'm doubling your money, 10xing your money. Here's 7%. Like, God forbid, 7% when you're already 10xing your money. Fine.
Sure.
And so we were able to indicate loans, get that done, and now we can grow companies even faster. And then the AI tool was really a function of what do I think is going to disrupt the marketing industry overall. And it was the idea of somewhere someone's going to build something that can tap into all your marketing channels, monitor them in real time, benchmark you against your industry, and then provide insight on where you need to actually be focusing on your marketing efforts and take away that forest from the trees problem. And then eventually when AI gets to the point, it'll actually just start making fixes itself. So it's like, okay, but I have to start from square one. I have to build the monitoring, then the benchmarking, then the insights, then the AI. So we started building that. And I started with the data piece 7 years ago, finally got the platform piece. We acquired a software company in February, implemented the two, and now we have the benchmarking tool, and hence why it grew so fast. It's like every marketer needs this. We made it, cost effective, and here we are. So these are all things that it's like, we need this. This is where the industry is going, and let's keep up with that.
Where's all this energy coming from? I mean, I'm just feeling the crazy entrepreneurial energy that you're presenting here as you're talking about the different ventures, and I'm noticing it because I can see myself in a lot of this. Yeah. Where is all this coming from?
I learned a lot about it this year, so it's fun timing because I haven't talked about this. So like the beginning of this year, we dealt with a ton of headwinds in the business, and I lost a lot of that energy. Like we had internal people really screwing up stuff, some lying going on, some really almost criminal stuff happened in the business that hurt us for a few months, and all that energy went away. And so the truth is that energy comes from positive reinforcement. That energy comes from I work my ass off, and everything that I put into this business, I get out. That I see the success, I see the growth, I see the progress, I see that when I put my mind to something, it works, and it just makes me want to do more of it. Because if I spend a week in New York City grinding and meeting people and working, I come away with a ton of new customers and new progress and new ideas. That feedback cycle makes it really easy to keep going. So like I don't blame the lack of it with some people that don't get that same outcome. Like if you're not in a job that has a lot of upside to working harder, yeah, I understand why you wouldn't want to work that hard. And so that to me is like a big part. Is like, and I'm not saying just monetarily, like making money is great, but thankfully I'm past the point of needing to like pay my bills. It's more about like, I see the growth, I see the success of our clients, I see like this thing that we're growing and that continues to be
right
to onboard, bigger and bigger companies, smart people. Like one of the biggest rewarding things is to spend years building this tool, call some of the biggest marketers in the world and biggest private equity funds in the world, have them vet it and vet the data and go, this is incredible. Like as much as I'm confident, I was still like, really? So that's where I get the energy, is once you do it and you put all that work in and then you get that feedback, it's like, okay, awesome, let's keep going.
So is it about the media market? Is it about the specific market, or is it about the entrepreneurial journey for you? I mean, if you had to distill sort of what makes
entrepreneurial,
you,
yeah, hands down. I like marketing. The reason I'm in marketing is because it turns out I have a knack for it. So like the combination of what you're good at and what you like to do is really important. But if it was building it, like I could be in private equity. My wife's in it, so I have a lot of now I have a lot of insight into it. I'm like, this is a fun business. Like I love the idea of buying companies, helping grow and blah, blah, blah. Like that's great too. I could be in SaaS. I have a SaaS business now. I like the idea of this, but my focus is, I love growing things. And so my focus would always be growth, which marketing goes hand in hand with that. I also I run our sales team. I'm very hands-on with sales, with partnerships, with channel partnerships, with client success. Like I love that aspect of it. So it's not just marketing. It's just marketing is a big part of it.
Right. And so if you're looking at your own journey, sort of your vision for yourself, do you see yourself ever not being an entrepreneur? I mean, is that something that you're even thinking about? Is this, what is this for you?
I think there might come a point at some point where the investing side will start to overtake, but I think someone made a point to me the other day, because I was like, I like operating. I like running businesses. And they said, yeah, but as an investor, I can invest and be hands-on with the company, but then go home and go to sleep at night. And it's like, I've been running running businesses for a long time, not that long, but long enough that it's like, yeah, I think, at a later point in my life where the energy is not as easy to come by, I could see, my 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever that is. I doubt that I'm going to want to be grinding every day, but that also could look different. That could look like me chairman of my own company and have a CEO. That could be, there's a lot of ways to get there. But yeah, 100%. I could see wanting to not wake up every morning and hit the ground running. But I don't know.
And so if you're looking at the different entrepreneurial journeys that you've had until now, and you're trying to sort of paint the picture and connect the dots between these points, and given what we just talked about, this idea of what entrepreneurship means to you. How do you see, what are different things that you've observed that you learned about yourself that aren't necessarily trivial?
Yeah. I've learned that probably the toughest lesson I've learned is, as an entrepreneur, this is a cliche, but no one really comprehends it. And that's my view of it, because I've heard it 100 times too. No one's going to care as much as you do as the business owner entrepreneur. Of course, that's a given. Of course, no one's going to care as much as you do. That being said, if the company struggles or fails, as an employee, your worst case scenario is you got to go get another job. And generally, given outside of the depth of a recession, if you're a talented person, you're probably going to get a job. So that is the worst case scenario, is I have to go find a new job. For an entrepreneur, you lose everything. It's your baby, it's your livelihood. And it's not you don't just get a new job. You never had a job. You had a business. So it's such a different level of pressure to keep it going. That is, when you think about it that way, it's obvious that as an entrepreneur, you're always going to have to grind more to keep your business going. Yes, you can put people in great places and you can have great executives that are smart and hardworking. But at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, if the executive doesn't see their upside sticking with you outweighs just joining a different company and using your company on their resume, they're going to start looking. And that's not a bad thing. I don't think that they're to blame or that's bad people. It's just human nature, and people need to look out for what's best for them. So that has been one of the tougher but also most important realizations, is that doesn't mean again, that people are bad. It's just understand that the dream of having a team of people that just run your business for you, that I hear about this paradise situation from entrepreneurs all the time, doesn't exist. And that's okay, because when you come to terms with that, it is your job to run your business. It is your job to drive, and that doesn't go away. So just be clear on that. That has been an important lesson for me. That lesson,
I love that,
almost crushed my business, and thankfully I learned it fast enough.
I love that. It's a lot of responsibility that you're taking, and so it's a big toll. It's a big decision that you're making, and it's sort of once you're committing to that decision, you have to understand, what you're really committing to.
One, two, your downside as an entrepreneur is a lot higher than the downside of an individual employee. Assuming you can just go get a job too, I guess, but even winding down a business is expensive. So yeah, keeping your eye on everything and making sure you're the one driving things is generally how you're going to have to run a business.
Completely. Erik, I really want to thank you for coming on and sharing these 20 minutes with me. It sounds like an awesome journey that you've had. It sounds like they sort of, really do embody the true spirit of what entrepreneurship is about. And I can relate to that quite a bit. And so I really thank you for coming here. Enjoy your time in New York and really congrats on all the amazing milestones and achievements. It's really, really phenomenal. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.